How's it going, everybody? A lot of people ask the question, should you buy expensive gear for outdoor activities or whatever hobby you're involved in? And today we're going to get into that subject, so stick with me. In today's times, in the world we live in, most of us are on a budget, myself included, and we don't have a lot of money to spend. I myself have several outdoor hobbies that I'm involved in: fishing, hiking, camping, kayaking, and don't have a fortune to spend on gear. But I've accumulated some over the years, and when I get the chance, I pick up something else I need. I always have to look at price versus quality, and the best way I do that is a lot of things I buy are on Amazon. I go on there and I read the reviews. Sometimes you have to take the reviews with a grain of salt. You'll read through them, and if there's a particular problem with the product, it'll usually start recurring throughout the reviews. You'll hear the same thing from 8, 10 people. And then sometimes the problems they're having are just random. They're here and there, and most of those people probably just haven't bothered to read the instructions or whatever the case may be. Or, unfortunately, some of these people probably have problems tying their shoes in the morning. You never know. But that's what I look at. I look at reviews. If I see a problem that's, is recurring over and over again in the review, then I have to make a decision. Is this a deal breaker for me to buy this product or not? And most of the times I've fared pretty well, by doing that. I had a guy one time tell me that I didn't take fishing seriously if I didn't have this $200 pair of pliers. Well, I kind of laughed at him because at the time I had a pair of pliers that were $20 and they were already 5 years old, in and out of salt water, and they worked just fine. I mean, what are we talking about here? Taking hooks out of a fish's mouth and maybe straightening a hook or two here and there with a pair of pliers? I mean, fishing pliers, that's about all you're going to do with it. And those particular pliers lasted almost 10 years. The only reason that I don't have them anymore is because the little cutting tool on the pliers just started to get a little rusty and just wasn't cutting as well anymore. And I just decided it was time for a new pair of pliers. And again, I bought a pair of pliers, $22. So if you add that up over a lifespan, I probably won't even spend $200 in $20 pliers. So it's kind of silly for him to make a statement like that. First of all, because I can find better things to spend $200 on than a pair of fishing pliers. So those are just some of the things you have to take into consideration. Maybe you want a pair of $200 fishing pliers. Maybe it's the top of the line thing and everybody has them. And if that's you, by all means, and you have the money to do it, go for it. But for me, with the amount of hobbies I have and paying bills and trying to eat, we all can't do that. So I try to be budget minded as much as possible. I try to buy good quality gear. I take care of my gear. I've been doing that since I was a kid. I'm probably more anal about taking care of gear than anyone. I have gear that's 10 years old, still using it. So a perfect example is the fishing rods that I use. I have 4 of them that I take out. And you've probably seen it on a previous video. If not, you can check that out. It's called Kayak, inshore kayak rigging. You can see the 4 rod and reels that I have on there. I carry 4 with me for different reasons. But the point is, I have not the top of the line rod and reels. Shimano makes $200, $300, $400 reels, and some of the guys I fish with have those. The most expensive one I have is $130. It's a Shimano Saros. I have a Symmetry, which is $100. I've got a Sedona that's retails around $70. And most recently, a couple of years ago, I purchased a Sienna, and it was $30. The reason I purchased this $30 reel is when I started kayak fishing, I had two Siennas. They were 4,000 models. Both of them, when I retired them, were right at 10 years old. But inshore fishing, I found that, especially with a kayak and casting all day, the 2500 series reels are now what I go with. And so I really bought the Sienna as an experiment just to see, for an inexpensive $30 reel, how long it will last. Seeing how the other ones lasted almost 10 years. And without a doubt, I can tell you I'm amazed at this little reel. My Saros, which is $130, my most expensive one, the roller bearing on it every now and then continues to make noise. I clean it. It'll be fine for a while and it'll start making noise again. The Sienna reels like butter. I can't explain it, but you know, they're both Shimano. They're both great reels. They work, but the Sienna works just as good, if not better, than the Saros at a fraction of the cost. So, number one, you got to stick with a brand that's a reputable brand. Obviously, you want a quality brand that has a reputation. And I can tell you, since I began fishing, I've been using Shimano and haven't had anything else. They work for me. They're smooth. They're better built than any other reel that I've tried, and so I stick with them. But that's just one instance, and there's other instances where cheaper brands just aren't better. My kayak, I have a Wilderness Systems kayak. It was, you know, with the rudder and everything installed on it, it was probably about $1,200. You know, that's a lot of money, I know. But for something that I use almost on a weekly basis, it's worth the money. And Wilderness has a reputation of lifetime guarantee on their hulls. And so in that instance, I'm okay with spending that money versus, say, a $400 Walmart kayak. Or, you know, not that you can't get out on the water. Whatever gets you out and get you on the water or get you in the woods, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, by all means, if that's all you can afford, do it. But there are some instances where it is worth spending more money on a product to get a better product that you're going to be happier with. I can tell you that the cheaper kayaks, those companies do not stand behind their products, like, say, Wilderness Systems or Native or Ocean Kayak, or some of the others. The plastic that they make those out of is a different kind of plastic. It's a cheaper plastic. They're not as durable. They don't have some of the UV qualities that, say, a Wilderness has. And so that's what you're sacrificing, as well as some of the features. I mean, Wilderness has been around for a long time. They're making kayaks specifically for touring, fishing. They spend a lot of money in research and advertising and finding out what makes the best kayak. And so you're paying for that experience too. So in that instance, I would recommend going, you know, with something like a Wilderness or a Native, more expensive, versus, say, a cheaper, you know, Walmart brand. Or, you know, I don't want to throw out brands because I'm not knocking them, but you know what I'm talking about. And I have had friends that had cheaper kayaks. I had one friend that had a kayak that he bought from Bass Pro, and it got a leak in it and started getting gallons of water in it by the time he was done fishing for a few hours. Never could fix the problem. Tried to warranty it. They pretty much told him it was his problem. And here he is. He spent $400 or $500 on this kayak, which still $400 or $500 is a lot of money. And, you know, for them not to stand behind it, now you're out $400 or $500 and you have to go purchase another kayak. So, all that being said, my point is sometimes it's worth spending the money, and then most times I've found you can find deals. If you're willing to wait, if you're a person that's willing to wait on something, You find a lot of deals. Like that's why I'm a big fan of Amazon. I get my order up to where I've got at least the $25. It was up to 49. Now they're back to 25 again. I found, and you might have to wait a week to get it, but sometimes you can save some significant money getting a less expensive product, or getting a product off of Amazon and just waiting a few days versus going right out and buying it and spending a little more money. So you have to consider your budget, consider what do you want to do, what is the purpose of the gear that you're buying. Is it something that you need to last for a long time? Take all those things into consideration. And what I'm trying to say is you don't have to have the best of everything you buy. You can collect a lot of quality gear just by doing some research. Google helps. YouTube is a wealth of information as far as anything you want to know about on there. Any product, there's always people that do reviews on different products. And I've purchased camping gear just by products I've seen on YouTube. I did extensive research for about 3 months before I purchased my concealed carry weapon, which is a Smith & Wesson Shield 9mm. I batted back and forth between that and a couple others, and I kept going back to that, reading the reviews and just the features, and then going and looking at it, trying it out, feeling it in my hand, and I just felt that that was the best choice for me for that product. So I hope this gives you guys a little information that you can work with. If you're just getting started out in fishing or hiking or hammock camping, whatever it is, just do your research, figure out your budget, figure out what you want to do with whatever gear it is that you need to purchase, and just get out there. Get out there and have fun with it, and save a little money in the process. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll talk to you at the next video.